Download and upload more than ever before with an ultra-fast fiber connection. With 3 simple steps, you can be the one with an SLT fiber optic connection. Visit slt.lk.
Heated situation. Arguments erupt between members of TNA and Global Sri Lankan Forum. Sarath Weerasekara lashes out at the report by High Commissioner of Human Rights. Striking back. Minister of Finance responds to opposition leader's statement on Geneva resolution. Says it's aimed at hoodwinking the masses. Address loopholes. The Cardinal calls on the government to take effective legislation to prevent the influx of narcotics. Idai wreaks havoc. Mozambique hit by deadly cyclone. Death toll could rise above 1,000. All that and much more coming up on First at 9 this Tuesday, the 19th of March, 2019.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to First at 9, AdaDerana 24, Sri Lanka's news channel. I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to your top story tonight. The report by the High Commissioner for Human Rights on promoting reconciliation, accountability and human rights in Sri Lanka will be presented to the ongoing 40th regular session of the United Nations Human Rights Council tomorrow. The 5-member committee headed by Minister of Foreign Affairs Tilak Marapana is already in Geneva and is expected to make a statement on behalf of the government following the tabling of the report at the session. Ahead of these developments, however, an argument erupted between several TNA MPs and members of the Global Sri Lanka Forum at the premises of the UNHRC headquarters yesterday.
In line with the ongoing UNHRC session, the Indian non-government organisation Pasumai Thayagam Foundation organised an NGO briefing at the UNHRC headquarters yesterday, which saw the participation of TNA parliamentarians M.A. Sumandiran, S. Sridharan as well as former Northern Provincial Councillor M.K. Sivajilingam. During and after the briefing, an argument erupted between the TNA parliamentarians and members of the Global Sri Lanka Forum.
Sumandiram, Sridharan, ඔයා ලංකාවේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකෙන් මම අහන්නේ පඩි ගන්න. මම පඩි ගන්න නැහැ කියන්නේ. ඔයා පඩි ගන්නවා මොකද්ද තමුතුරු? කොහොමද ගන්න? මම පොලිටිෂියන්. ඔව් පොලිටිෂියන්. පොලිටිෂියන් ලංකාවේ පොලිටිෂියන් වලට ආණ්ඩුව සල්ලි දෙනවද? ඔව් නැත්නම් ඔබ නැත්නම් කාගේද පඩි ගන්න? මොනවද දැන් කොම් බලස් සභාවක් නැහැ. හිටපු පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ කිසියකත් නැහැ. සුමන්දිරන්ලාට ගිහලා ආන්න. ඒගොල්ලෝ MPs. MP ශ්‍රීධරන්ට සුමන්දිරන්ට ගිහලා ආන්න. දැන් මම තනතුරු මොකුත් නැහැ. ඒක පරීක්ෂණ තියන්න අපි ලෙක්චර් අයි මේ ආණ්ඩුව බොරු කියන්නේ අයි එකම වුණා co-sponsored කර මේ විදේශීය what about the people who killed by the LTT they attack from Nayaru Kokilai ඔක්කොම කියන්නේ මොකද සිද්ධ වුණා කියලා පරීක්ෂණ තියෙනවා කියලා දැන් අනිත්දා 21 වෙනිදා ආණ්ඩුව එකඟ වෙනවා යට වෙනවා ඒ යට වෙන්නේ ඒක සිද්ධ වුණා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක කියන්නේ
Meanwhile, today TNA parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran had met with the British national David Billy, who accused Sri Lanka of committing war crimes at UNHRC sessions on behalf of the Tamil diaspora.
ඔබතුමා මේ අවස්ථාවට පැමිණුනේ රජය නියෝජනය කරමින් නැත්නම් රාජ්‍ය නම සංවිධානය නියෝජනය කරමින්ද?
මම ශ්‍රී ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ යාපනයේ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ මේ කතා කරන කරුණු ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ reconciliation and accountability එහෙම පිළිගත්ත යෝජනා සම්බන්ධව.
මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ආවේ ලංකා රජයේ මතය ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමට ඔබතුමා
මම ශ්‍රී ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ විපක්ෂ මන්ත්‍රී.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියනවා මේ එතුමාගේ අර්ථනමක් නැතුව තමයි මේ යෝජනාව වලට අසං කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
නෑ එහෙම නෑ. ඒ කොහොමද ඒ ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියන්නේ 2015 අලුත් යෝජනාවක් දැනගන්නත් දන්නවා. දැන් නැතුව මොනවත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. காலத்திலே சரியாக செய்யப்படவில்லை. இலங்கை அரசாங்கம் எல்லாத்தையும் பின்பற்றுள்ளது. முறையாக செய்ய வேண்டியதை செய்யவில்லை. அதுதான் இனி வரப்போகிற இந்த வருடத்திலேயும் அது சம்பந்தமாக நாங்கள் இன்றைக்கு ஒரு கூட்டத்திலே நாடுகளோடு பேசியிருந்தோம். கால அட்டவணை ஒன்று தயாரிக்கப்பட வேண்டும், அதனை இறுக்கமாக கைக்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று நாங்கள் கேட்டிருக்கிறோம். நாட்டின் பிரதிநிதிகளும் ஏற்றுக்கொள்கிறார்கள். இலங்கை அரசாங்கம் செய்ய வேண்டியதை உரிய நேரத்தில் செய்யவில்லை என்று ஏற்றுக்கொள்கிறார்கள்.
සමන්ත්‍රණ මන්ත්‍රීවරයා ස්වාජලිංග මන්ත්‍රීවරයාත් මේ අවස්ථාවේ මේ මාතෘභූමියේ ඒකීයභාවයට හානි වෙන ඒ වගේම රණවිරුවන් වැරදිකරුවන් කරන්න විශාල බොරු ප්‍රමාණයක් NGO ආයතන ඒ වගේ රාජ්‍ය නොවන සංවිධානවල පිරිසක් ඉදිරියේදී ඔවුන්ගේ ව්‍යාජ බොරු තොරතුරු ඉදිරිපත් කරලා ඒක රට බෙදන්න සහ රණවිරුවව හිරේ දාන්න අපිට හිතන්න තියෙන්නේ මේක රාජ්‍ය අනුග්‍රහයක් ලැබෙනවා කියලා මේ පුද්ගලයන් එහෙම නැත්නම් පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරු තුන්දෙනෙක් කොහොමද ඇවිල්ලා සමාන්තර සැසිවල අදහස් දක්වන්නේ.
Meanwhile, representing the UK-based NGO International Buddhist Relief Organisation, Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara addressed the 40th regular session of the United Nations Human Rights Council today. He expressed strong views against the recent report of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights.
Talking about racial discrimination, at present a number of Sri Lankan Sinhalese army generals, including the Chief of Staff General Silva, are penalized for defeating the Tamil terrorists. These generals were in the war front in the final battle. The High Commissioner has thought it fit to prosecute them under universal jurisdiction for alleged war crimes based on panel of expert report, which was condemned by international war crime experts. She mentions about absence of credible domestic process, which is far from truth, as there were 3 domestic commissions and none of them have found any of the generals responsible for any crime. She expresses her concern at the appointment of General Silva as Chief of Staff of the Army. He was appointed purely on merit by the President, which is completely an internal matter, and the High Commissioner has no right to interfere as per UN Charter. The High Commissioner also discusses the perpetrated mass grave in Mannar. To hold the Army responsible, the OMP dispatched the samples for carbon dating prematurely against the advice of the forensic archaeological experts. Unfortunately for them, the remains turned out to be 600 years old. The conspiracy against the army is clear. They are denied visa to foreign countries, peacekeeping slots, just because they took part in war. The High Commissioner subjects them to universal jurisdiction on bogus charges.
In the meantime, civil organizations including rehabilitated LTT members and politicians expressed views about the situation at various press briefings today.
1987 ඉන්දිය නමුදාව වෙන රටෙන් ඉඳලා ආපු අමුදාව අපේ රටේ අපේ පුරවැසියන්ට පාර දීලා ඒවා ඔක්කොම කරලා තියෙනවා. දකුණේ 60,000කට වඩා අහිංසක සිංහල කොල්ලෝ තරුණයා ඇවිල්ලා කපලා කොටලා කැලණි ගඟට විසික් කරලා ඒවා ඔක්කොම මේ රජය කරා. මිලිටරි මැෂින් එක පාවිච්චි කරලා. ඒ ගැන කතා කරේ නැහැ සමාජය. ඒ නිසා මුල්ලිවායිකල් වෙනකන් මේක වුණා. දැන් අපි ගිහිල්ලා ජෙනීවා කියලා මේක හැන්ඩල් කරන්න බැරි විදියට තමයි ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජය හැම රජයම ඇවිල්ලා කටයුතු කරන්නේ.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා හමු වෙලා අපි ඉල්ලා සිටියේ අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා වහාම මැදහත් වෙලා මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලයේ ඉදිරියේ පෙනී සිටින ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ නියෝජිතයන්ට නියෝගයක් නිකුත් කළ යුතුයි කියලා ලංකාව පිළිබඳ ඉදිරිපත් කෙරෙලා තිබෙන යෝජනාවට කිසිසේත් සම අනුග්‍රහය දක්වන්නට එපා කියලා. ඒ වගේම අන් සියලු රටවල් වලින් ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ කියලා මේකට විරුද්ධව ඡන්දය දෙන්නේ කියලා. තාම පරක්කු නැහැ. තාම කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ මොකද මේ යෝජනාව ඉදිරිපත් කෙරෙලා තිබෙනවා සම්මත වෙලා නැහැ.
යස්මින් සූකා ඇතුළු පිරිස කියනවා ලංකාවේ අතුරුදහන් වීම 40,000ක් පමණ සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සු. මේ පිළිබඳ ඉතාම වැදගත්ම වාර්තාව ඉදිරිපත් වුණේ එංගලන්තයේ නේස්පි සාමිවරයා සාමි මන්ත්‍රී මණ්ඩලය ඉදිරිපත් කරුවා ලංකාවේ වෙන දෙයක් සිදුුනේ නැහැ කියලා. ආණ්ඩුව කළ යුතුව තිබුණේ නේස්පි සාමිවරයාගේ වාර්තාව සමග අපි සාකච්ඡා කරන්න මානව හිමිකම් කමිෂන් ඇතුළේදී මේ රජයේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් මේ රටේ ජනතාවට දැවැන්ත ද්‍රෝහිකමක් කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා අපි කියන්න කැමතියි.
Meanwhile, a Hatha campaign and protest march was held in several areas of Batiklo and Trincomalee today. They were organised by families of individuals who went missing during the internal conflict. Protesters demanded for government's intervention in finding their relatives. Schools, stores and business spaces were closed during the day. Meanwhile, Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira says that the government will continue to defend Sri Lanka's sovereignty by reaffirming its commitment to seek durable reconciliation and promote and protect human rights of all. Responding to letters of opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa, which called on the government to present a clear stance on Resolution 30/1 in Geneva, the minister stated that recent allegations presented in the letter are false and is aimed at hoodwinking the masses.
Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira issued a letter today responding to allegations made by opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa on the 17th of this month. The minister reiterated that there is no resolution against Sri Lanka and there has been no resolution against Sri Lanka since 2015. Touching on the stance the government will take on Resolution 30/1, the minister stated that the government will ensure justice through the national system, affirm the honour of the institutions of the Army, Navy and the Air Force, and project their professionalism including the UN peacekeeping missions, and increase their opportunities for collaboration with the best militaries in the world by investigating allegations and prosecuting any abuse that may have taken place in accordance with the due process of the law. Affirm the rights of all by determining the fate and whereabouts of all the missing, including security forces personnel and police. Provide for those left behind, for all citizens in need, with integral reparation, to rebuild their lives and strive for national development, and forbid the recurrence of horrors of our past, like torture, sexual violence, war and white van abductions.
President Maithripala Sirisena points out that the caste system in the north has become a barrier to solve issues within the province. He expressed these views addressing the convocation of the diploma holder of the university in Sri Jawadhanapura today.
Before coming for this event, I was having a discussion with a former Deputy Secretary General of United Nations who have come to Sri Lanka to spend a holiday. He asked me if I am satisfied with solving the issues of this country during the past 4 years. I told him I can be 50% satisfied and 50% not satisfied at the same time. When he asked what is the reason for me to be unsatisfied, I said the reason is the issue of caste in the north. When we try to build up reconciliation and find out that there is no reconciliation among people in the north itself. More than establishing reconciliation among Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims and building up national peace in the country, what is difficult is not being able to unite people in the north due to issues of caste in the north. I discussed with him about the release issues about the action of the Sri Lankan government last week by UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. That release says that since the Sri Lankan government has failed to release lands which were taken over by the Sri Lankan forces during the civil conflict, an independent commission should be immediately appointed to release these lands. Today, I told the former Secretary General as to how little UN High Commissioner for Human Rights knows about the situation. By now, we have released 90% of the lands. But why don't they get distributed among general public in the north? Those in the area have decided to hand over lands with high value to those in the higher caste and lands with low value to those in lower caste. That's the reason why the real owners of the lands don't get the lands.
The intention of the parliament was also driven towards the United Nations Human Rights Council today.
It is suggested to extend the resolution which was co-sponsored in 2015 by 2 more years. I asked the President if Sri Lanka is to co-sponsor the resolution this year as well. He said he has not given consent over it. If so, how can the resolution be co-sponsored by 2 more years? Minister Tilak Marpana doesn't know about this decision taken by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then who takes these decisions? Today, some meetings of the Finance Ministry are held at the official residence of the Minister, and it is not the government officials who attend these. It's NGO members who are good with the Minister and his other accomplices. Who gives orders to our High Commissioner in Geneva? It is Mano Thittawalla. What position does Mano Thittawalla hold in the government? What right does he has to decide the foreign policy of this country? If that imbecile decision was not taken back then, since America withdrew from the Human Rights Council, this resolution wouldn't exist by now. But the measures taken by this imbecile foreign minister, the public of this country are betrayed. This report commends Sri Lanka in several places. Although the minister said that it is wrong to co-sponsor the resolution, he didn't read what is in it.
Welcoming the establishment of the Office of the Missing Persons, noting with appreciation the return of some private lands. ඉතින් හැම එකම අපි ප්‍රශංසා කරලා තියෙනවා. කෝ-ස්පොන්සර් කරන එක හරිද නැද්ද කියන එක.
Deciding if co-sponsoring is right or wrong is another matter, but this resolution is not harmful to the country. Honorable Chairman, we can't have grudges with the international community. We are a small country and we should move forward with them. They are talking about war heroes. Mahinda Rajapaksa imprisoned the biggest war hero, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca. We don't have to talk about the international community.
ජාත්‍යන්තරය ගැන කතා කරන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, calls on the government to introduce effective legislations which address shortcomings within the legal system as a measure to prevent the influx of narcotics into the country. Expressing concern over the alarming use of narcotics in the country today, the Archbishop said that a protest march will be organized on the 31st of this month in order to create awareness on the issue.
There has been an alarming increase in our country of the use of hard drugs by our young people. It became apparent to me that something will have to be done in order to raise our voices and also to get the popular support of our people, irrespective of our religious differences. Therefore, we decided to organize a protest campaign on Sunday the 31st of March, not against anybody, but to create awareness that this problem has to be tackled. We need the government to be more determined to bring in legislation necessary to close all the loopholes of the law in order to ensure that these people are punished and that this influx of these heavy drugs into our country is stopped and that young people affected by these are helped to get out of these habits and to be normal citizens of this country. Also, we are unhappy about the violence that has been erupting due to this kind of situation. We appeal to all parties concerned, especially those who bring these things into the country, those who support these people or those who don't implement the law correctly, to stop this, to change their ways and to come back and be conscious of the dignity of our young people and help us to save our young people for the future.
Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa says that they will introduce a candidate who can win the upcoming presidential election. Addressing a public gathering at Talduva in Avisawela, the opposition leader went on to say that the responsibility of bringing that candidate to victory lies with the general public.
Ada Johnston ප්‍රනාන්දු එපතිතුමාගේ දාලා තිබිච්ච නඩු හතරක් අල්ලස් කොමිෂන් සභාවෙන් නඩුකාරයෙක්ව ඉල්ලා අස් කරගෙන යනවා මේ බොරු නඩු ගේන්න එපා කියලා. මේක තමයි ඇත්ත කතාව. දේශපාලන වශයෙන් පරිගන්න නොඑක් විදිහේ නඩු මේ එක එක කොමිෂන් සභාවලින් හා පොලිසිය දාලා ඒ පොලිසිය FCID කියලා පොලිසියක් හදලා ඒ පොලිසියට නඩු බාර දෙන්නේ කොමිටිය අගමැතිතුමා හරහා තමයි එන්න ඕන. පල්ලි ගැනීම තමයි මේ අද තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ. ආන්දරනේ ලොකු කාර ගන්නත් බෑ. ඒතරම්ම වැඩි කරලා. ඉතින් මේක තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුව කරගෙන යන වැඩපිළිවෙල. මේ රැවට්ටුව ඇති දැන්. තවත් රවට්ටන්න බෑ. ඉඩ දෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නෑ. අපි දිනන අපේක්ෂකයෙක් දානවා ජනාධිපතිවරයන්ට. ඒ අපේක්ෂකයා ජයග්‍රහණය කරවීමේ වගකීම තමුන්නාන්සලා ගන්න.
Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena said yesterday that he is rather disappointed with the government of Singapore for their lack of support in arresting former Central Bank Governor Arjun Mahindran. UMP parliamentarian Payatharange Bandara today, however, responded to these views by the head of state. Highlighting the fact that security forces are under President's purview, parliamentarians said it is time that President Sirisena questioned Inspector General of Police regarding the delay in arresting the former Central Bank Governor.
ये जनाधिपतिතුමා දැඩි චෝදනාවක් කළා අර්ජුන් මහේන්ද්‍රන් ලංකාවට ගේන්න බෑ මේ ආණ්ඩුව ඉන්නකම් කියලා.
ඒ පිළිබඳව අතීතයේ අත්‍යවශ්‍යම අධිකාරී ජනාධිපතිතුමාගෙන් ආරක්ෂක හමුදාව සමස්ත වශයෙන් එතුමා බාරේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම නීතිය හා සාමය පිළිබඳව ගරු අමාත්‍යතුමා එතුමා මේ අපරාධය සම්බන්ධව අධිකරණයට ගිහිල්ලා නඩු මෙහෙයීම කටයුතු සිදු කරන්න තියෙන නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට එතුමා බාරේ තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් එතුමාගේ බාරේ තියෙන ආයතන වලින් ඒ කරන්න ඕන දේ කරන්න බැරි නම් මගේද වැරද්ද?
එතුමාගේ අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා තමයි ඔව්ව මහ බැංකුවේ අධිපතිවරයා පත් කළේ. එතුමා ඇයි මේ ඔව්ව ගෙන්නන්න උත්සාහයක් ගන්නේ නැහැ?
මහ බැංකුවේ අධිපතිවරයා විදිහට අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා පත් කරේ නැහැ. පත් කරේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා.
ඒතකොට අගමැතිතුමා යෝජනාවක් කළේ නැද්ද?
අපි යෝජනා කරන අපි පත් කරන හැම පුද්ගලයාම 100% නිවැරදිව වැඩ කටයුතු කරලා කියලා ඉවරලා අපට සාතික දෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
UPFA parliamentarian Dr. Bandla Gunawardena says that they are expecting a comprehensive report on every sovereign bond issued by the central bank since 2007. Addressing a media briefing at the Joint Opposition's Economic Research Centre in Colombo, UPFA parliamentarian Gunawardena said that the government should they fail to provide a comprehensive report to the public soon, they will go before the central bank to seek the necessary details.
ප්‍රකාශ කළා ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහ බැංකුව 108ක් වෙනි ඉතාම අධික පොලියට ණය අරන් තියෙනවා. ලෝකෙ වෙන රටවල මෙවැනි ස්වෛරීත්ව බැඳුම් කර මීට වඩා අඩකට අඩු මිලට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. 2029 මාර්තු මාසේ 14 වෙනිදාට එකවර මේ ණය මුදල ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. 2007 සිට අද දක්වා නිකුත් කරපු සියලුම ස්වෛරීත්ව බැඳුම් කර පිළිබඳ පූර්ණ වාර්තාව රටට ඉදිරිපත් කළේ නැත්නම් අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා ලබන සතිය මහා බැංකුවට යන්න.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Police fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse protesting university students before the Higher Education Ministry today. The protest was organised by the Students' Council of the University of Sabaragamuwa against the cutback of admissions to the university. The former Navy commander, retired Admiral Vasantha Karanagoda, was questioned by the CID for a third day today over the alleged case of the disappearance of 11 youths in 2008. The Bribery Commission withdrew 4 cases filed against UPFA parliamentarian Johnston Fernando regarding the non-declaration of assets. The Colombo Chief Magistrate Court discharged the MP of the relevant charges. Surakimu Sri Lanka organisation made a request from President Maithripala Sirisena to take Lanka Mineral Sands Limited at Pulmude under his purview. Sri Lankan actress Nilmini Sigera won the Yakushi Pearl Award given to the most brilliant performer at the Osaka Asian Film Festival 2019, which was held in Osaka, Japan last Sunday. Sigera received the award for her performance in Asoka Handagama's latest film, Asandimitta.
And with that, we cross over to short commercial break, so make sure you stay tuned for more news.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is AdaDerana 24.
Sri Lanka's economy grew 3.2% in the fourth quarter of last year, which is a 0.3% increase during the same period in 2017. The GDP for Sri Lanka for last year reached up to 9,644 billion rupees, while the GDP value reported for the year of 2017 was 9,344 billion rupees. The 4 major components of the economy, agriculture, industry, services and taxes less subsidies on products, have contributed their share to the GDP at current prices by 7.9%, 27%, 56.8% and 8.3% respectively for last year. During the year of 2018, agricultural activities expanded favorably by 4.8% compared to the contraction of 0.4% reported in the year 2017. The industrial activities recorded slight positive expansion by 0.9% and service activities reported 4.7% of outstanding growth during the year of 2018 compared to the year of 2017. Now in your stock market, the All Share Price Index fell 0.42% to 5,591.67, hovering near its lowest close since 26th of December in 2012. The turnover was 291.3 million rupees, well below last year's daily average of 834 million rupees. Foreign investors sold a net 182.6 million rupees worth of shares. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan rupee ended weak at 178 rupees from 40 to 50 cents to the dollar on demand for dollars from some foreign banks, compared with yesterday's close of 178 rupees and 25 to 40 cents. Let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies during the day. We will now cross over to short commercial breaks, so make sure you stay tuned for international news on the other side.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is AdaDerana 24.
On international news, President of Mozambique, Filipe Nyusi, says that the number of people killed in a powerful storm and preceding floods in the country could exceed 1,000, putting the potential death toll greatly more than current figures. 84 deaths have been confirmed so far in Mozambique as a result of Cyclone Idai, which has left a trail of death and destruction across Zimbabwe and Malawi, with vast areas of lands flooded, roads destroyed and communication wiped out. The cyclone has killed 98 people in Zimbabwe, with more than 200 people missing, while the death toll in Malawi from heavy rains and floods stood at 56 as of last week. The first match of the three-match T20 series between Sri Lanka and South Africa is set to begin shortly at Newlands Cricket Ground. South Africa won the toss and invited Sri Lanka to bat first. Meanwhile, the head of Japan's Olympic Committee stepped down over corruption allegations relating to the awarding of the 2020 Olympics to Tokyo. Tsunokazu Takeda is being investigated by French prosecutors who are looking into claim of a €2 million bribe paid to secure Tokyo's winning bid. Tokyo was awarded the Games in 2013, beating Madrid and Istanbul. The company to which the payment was made is linked to the son of former World Athletic chief Lamine Diack, who also faces corruption allegations, which he denies. A GOC panel has already cleared Japanese bidding officials of any illegal activity in the case. Their 2016 report said the payment was a legitimate one for consulting services. And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.